Hey, this is Tommy Ball from NYC, and you're watching CMS TV where The Rock lives. Check it out.
Welcome to The Debate. This is the CMS News exclusive. Today, we are diving headfirst into the new fucking Lamb of God album, Into Oblivion. And this thing is great because we have two totally different statements from inside the band that set this whole thing up.
Yeah, it creates a real tension. So the big question is this. Is this album, Into Oblivion, really about the band finding their own, internal creative freedom? Or is it all about them pointing the finger at the world and delivering a brutal, socio-political beatdown?
And I'm going to be arguing that the album's real power, its fucking soul, comes from the band finally being free to do whatever the hell they want. That's the core of it, just like Mark Morton laid it out.
Well, I'm taking the other side. This record is 100% defined by its message. It's a diagnosis of a sick society, just like Randy Blythe said. The music is just a fucking sledgehammer they use to deliver the message.
Okay, so look, my whole take is that the genius of Into Oblivion isn't what it's yelling about, but the sheer freedom they had to make it. Morton says it right there. The goal was having the space to breathe creatively and not feeling like we have to keep up with any trend or expectation. That's not just talk. That's a veteran band saying, fuck you, we do what we want now.
Okay, fuck you, we do what we want is great. I love that. But it doesn't answer the question of what they wanted to do. Morton's talking about the how, the process. Blythe is talking about the why. And the why is everything. The album is called Into Oblivion because, and I'm quoting the man himself, because that's where we're heading. He says the whole thing is about the rapid breakdown of the social contract. I mean, come on. When the title of your fucking art is the problem you're screaming about, that defines the work. Period.
I get that. I do. But you're missing the context. They are modern metal veterans beholden to no one. Being untethered, as they put it, means the main goal was internal. It was about making music that they thought was cool, that was powerful to them. And look at how they made it. That's the proof. Drums in one city, guitars and bass at Morton's house, vocals in some legendary punk studio. That's not just convenient, it's a statement. It's them saying they're prioritizing their own comfort, their own creative vibe, and connecting back to this raw anti-corporate punk shit, which has nothing to do with today's political headlines.
Whoa, hold on. That's a huge leap. Just because they recorded in different places doesn't mean they're divorced from reality. I mean, it shows they have flexibility, sure, but if the goal was just creative freedom, they could have made some prog rock instrumental bullshit. But they didn't. They made an album with song titles like Parasocial Christ and Sepsis. The CMS insiders even called Parasocial Christ an anti-tech thrasher. The ferocity of the music, the power you're talking about, it's all just a delivery system. It's the weapon they designed to make sure you feel the goddamn diagnosis. The message came first.
And this is where we get to the core of it, right? What does untethered really mean? You see it as their license to go off on the world. I see it as them being free from having to prove a damn thing to anyone. And that freedom, that's what lets them look inward, to go back to their roots. Morton says it let them double down on their classic groove. The fact that a song like Sepsis is a shout out to the old 90s Richmond scene. That's a band exploring its own history, its own DNA. That's a pure artistic move. And it's way more interesting than just bitching about the newts.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not interesting, but you can't separate the two. Being untethered isn't freedom from the world, it's the freedom to tell the ugliest truths about the world without getting canceled or dropped by your label. A younger band couldn't get away with this shit. Blythe says things are acceptable now that would have horrified people 20 years ago. The freedom you're celebrating is the very thing that lets him say that. It's the privilege of being a veteran. So, yeah, the creative freedom is linked directly, one-to-one, with the brutal-ass content.
Okay, but again, you're putting the lyrics, the message on a pedestal above the actual fucking music. And that's just wrong. Let's talk about the sound, what actually lasts. Consequence pointed out that Morton's riffs on Sepsis are bruising at this slower pace. That shows they're evolving their sounds while locking down what makes them Lamb of God. that groove. When you talk about a metal album's identity, you talk about the riffs, the rhythm, the power. That shit would be just as heavy if Randy was singing about dragons. The musical foundation is the identity. The critique is just the paint they chose to put on it this time.
Paint? Are you kidding me? It's not paint. It's the goddamn blueprint. The entire structure is built around the message. Why do you think the Killing Floor has that suffocating rhythm? Because it's supposed to feel claustrophobic. It's supposed to make you feel the social breakdown he's screaming about. They named the whole fucking album Into Oblivion. That's the anchor. That's the thesis statement. The musical choices, all the riffs and grooves you love, are just tools they picked to build this monument to societal collapse. It's a dark, definitive statement, and the sound is just there to match the fucking gravity of the theme. If it was just about cool grooves, the title would be a total mismatch.
But look at their history, man. Look at how people have always talked about this band. When Omens came out, what did Kerrang say? That they were as reliably heavy, violent, and pissed off as ever. That's what people want from them. That's their brand, their identity, sonic violence. So when they put out a track like Sepsis that honors their roots, that's them servicing their core identity. The groove is king, the art is the point.
You can't just cherry-pick that one line. That sonic violence has never, ever existed in a vacuum. It's always been aimed at something. The CMS insiders got it right when they talked about Omens, remember? They said the album will break you down to nihilistic pieces. Their whole identity has always been tied to this dark, destructive political worldview. Their consistency is their rage at the outside world. This album, Into Oblivion, isn't some new direction for them. It's the ultimate, purest fucking expression of who they've always been. The social decay is the fire, and the groove is just the furnace that's burning it.
Okay, fine, a furnace. But you still need the goddamn furnace. Even if the energy comes from that nihilism, the artistic victory is being able to build a furnace that fucking brutal and that precise. Plenty of bands are pissed off. How many of them have the skill, the signature sound to make it hit this hard? The real achievement is their creative control, like Morton said. They're making their music on their terms, and the politics are just the fuel. It's not the engine itself.
And I'm telling you, that engine would have nowhere to go without the fuel. The freedom Morton is talking about is just what was necessary for Blythe to make his observation. They are untethered, you're right, but they use that freedom to point directly at the wreckage. You can't listen to an album called Into Oblivion, hear the singer say, because that's where we're heading, and then claim the most important thing about it is the cool groove. The crisis outside is what gives this album its urgency, its weight. It elevates it from just a good metal record to a vital piece of commentary.
All right, so to wrap this up, my position is that while Blythe's commentary is fucking powerful, the real strength, the thing that makes Lamb of God who they are, is their artistic independence, the internal drive to make their own uncompromising metal, proven by them refining their sound and honoring their roots. That's the real story here. The creative control came first.
And I'll finish by saying the opposite. Given how specific Blythe is, that this album is a literal statement on the breakdown of our social contract, you just can't separate the art from that context. This is a pissed-off statement on the state of the world, and the music, as killer as it is the vehicle for that diagnosis. The critique is everything.
It's clear that both statements from the CMS insiders are credible. It just shows you how complex it is to make art that's both deeply personal and a reaction to the shit show going on around us.
Yeah, the album's power really comes from those two things clashing. The artist finally being free, and the critic feeling the urgency to scream.
If you want more in-depth analysis of the creative forces shaping modern metal and culture, you need to become paid VIPs of the CMS by visiting classicmetalshow.locals.com and subscribing today.
Handjob.